Hi guys, it is a spectacularly gorgeous day here in paradise. We're down in downtown Bridgeport, California here on this Tuesday morning, August 2nd, 2016. And so I'm $1 short and a day late bringing you my economic meltdown roundup rant because yesterday I was busy being a good little slave consumer, supporting the global industrial economy, bringing down a planet while I was also killing old hippies. But better late than never. So I'm just going to dive right into this week's economic meltdown roundup rant, where I go on the pages of the mainstream media, in this case Yahoo News' finance pages, as August 2016 opens up to see how the global industrial economy is bringing down a planet. And we're going to start with our old buddy Stephen Hawking. You know, look at this guy, guys. There's one of the great minds of the 21st century, apparently. Anyway, what is Stephen Hawking talking about on the finance pages? What a surprise. Our old doomsday prophet, Stephen Hawking's attitude on wealth and money threaten humanity. Yes, they do. It's the understatement. So this is actually, Stephen Hawking this is from an interview he had with the Guardian newspaper. They were talking to him about the Brexit vote, about England leaving the European Union. But in that interview, he kind of took off from Brexit to the rest of the world, and I just want to share what this is the ultimate effect of England leaving the EU. Take it away, Stephen. We are in perilous times. Our planet and the human race face multiple challenges. These challenges are global and serious. Climate change, food production, overpopulation puts in at number 3, overpopulation, the decimation of other species. So that's the 6th mass extinction coming in at number 4. Epidemic disease, acidification of the oceans. Such pressing issues will require us to collaborate. All of us. Are you listening, you 1%ers? With a shared vision and cooperative endeavor to ensure that humanity can survive. So how is humanity going to pull this off? Quote, we will need to adapt, rethink, refocus, and change some of our fundamental assumptions about what we mean by wealth, by possessions, by mine and yours. Just like children, we will have to learn to share. If we fail, then the forces that contributed to Brexit, the envy and isolationism, not just in the UK, but around the world, that spring from not sharing, of cultures driven by a narrow definition of wealth and a failure to divide it more fairly, both within nations and across national borders, will strengthen. If that were to happen, I would not be optimistic about the long-term outlook for our species. Thank you for spelling that out. And from there, from Stephen Hawking to Warren Buffett. What is Warren? The many stories about this. about Warren Buffett. Is it Warren Buffett whoring for Hillary Clinton, or Hillary Clinton whoring for Warren Buffett? Why Warren Buffett is pounding the table for Hillary Clinton. Now, I don't have my bullshit detector button. Unfortunately, I left it up at the campsite. So you'll just have to imagine my bullshit detector button. This whole thing is this entire story, unadulterated horseshit from beginning to end. Let's go. I'm not even gonna. I'll start you out, and then we'll interrupt and get to the meat of this. Buffett, CEO of $360 billion company Berkshire Hathaway, actually endorsed Hillary Clinton back in December. Why did he do this? Because Warren Buffett disagrees with Donald Trump's depiction of the economy. Throughout his campaign, Republican nominee Donald Trump has been painting a gloomy picture of the economy. His message crescendoed when he spoke at the Republican convention. Buffett, however, argues the candidates who have been framing the economic backdrop as dire are dead wrong. Okay, there's so many levels of bullshit in here, guys. So many layers upon layers of bullshit piling up on horseshit. I hate to sound like I'm agreeing with Donald Trump, but if anybody thinks that the reason Warren Buffett is cheerleading for Hillary Clinton is because he disagrees with Donald Trump on the economy, guys, you know what I would be doing right now if I had my bullshit detector button. Pull your head out of your ass. The reason why Warren Buffett is pounding the table for Hillary Clinton is that Hillary Clinton is a corporate whore. She is a fellow one percenter, as is Donald Trump, with Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett and Hillary and Bill Clinton are two peas out of the same planet-eating one percenter pod, having this goddamn billionaire, you know, at the Democratic National Convention, our goddamn Democratic candidate for president, bringing a goddamn multi-billionaire old white man, CEO of a $360 billion planet-eating corporation, and sitting there and sucking Warren Buffett's dick at the Democratic National Convention. You know, I just want to spew all over my computer reading this crap. Jesus Christ. I can't stand it. I'm going to be getting around to big oil here in a minute. Most of this week's rant, not surprisingly, being about big oil. But let's hit a couple of other stories before we wade in to big oil. I'm not going to get real deep into this story. I just enjoyed this lead story from Market Watch this week. Earnings signal a bear market. Quote, sell the house, sell the car, sell the kids. I wonder what I could get for my kid. My little dog almost got kidnapped today. Some woman just picked him up and started walking off with him. Speaking of dog days. All right, there's plenty of gloom going in to the dog days of August, including one bond guru's latest take paired with an earnings trend that's sounding some serious bear market alarms. Like this Jeff Gundlach, who's in charge of more than $100 billion at DoubleLine. Quote, the artist Christopher Wool has a word painting, sell the house, sell the car, sell the kids. That is exactly how I feel. Nothing here looks good. The stock markets should be down massively. They should be down massively, but investors seem to have been hypnotized that nothing can go wrong. Nothing can go wrong. Okay, from Wall Street to sub-Saharan Africa. Looking at, who is this Foreign Policy magazine, looking at China's $100 billion in aid to Africa. Yes. This is from 2000 to 2013, nearly $100 billion in aid. Aid has flowed from China to Africa, according to a recently updated database. Since 2000, China has established itself as a major donor across the continent, second only to U.S. contributions in Africa. Yes. Take a wild guess. Take a wild guess why China has poured in, and now, it's the middle of 2016, well over $100 billion into Africa. It's the same reason the U.S. has. Your tax dollars at work. Okay. Angola, more than $12 billion. Yes. China, this is quoting Yu Sun, one of these China watchers, I guess. China has frequently provided low-interest loans to nations who rely on commodities such as oil or mineral resources as collateral. So this foreign aid, what it is, make no mistake about what it is low interest loans that they never expect to get paid back in money. So it's the same that they're doing down in Latin America, such as in Ecuador. Is what they're doing is they're putting up these banana republic nations' oil and mineral wealth as collateral for their loans. So if they can't come up with the money to pay back, it's then China just takes it out in oil and minerals. That is what they want. According to this strategy, the recipient nations usually suffer from low credit ratings and have great difficulty obtaining funding from the international financial market. Can you say the World Bank and the IMF? But China makes financing relatively available with certain conditions. Since Angola is also China's largest African trading partner, wow, China in turn has won favorable conditions for mining deals there. And don't forget infrastructure projects, along with energy and transportation dominated Chinese investment in Africa. And take a wild guess, the coming up at the very bottom of the list for what China was investing in sub-Saharan Africa would be population, reproductive health, and environmental protection, bringing up the bottom of the list of concerns for China. Okay, we're going to go from there over to our friends Big Oil for the remainder of this rant. I've already mentioned this story in my Clueless Moron Roundup rant on Saturday. Getting back to it here today, U.S. to speed oil and gas permits. So here we have all of these goddamn clueless moron, limp dick mainstream environmentalists out there talking about their goddamn little keep it in the ground. Keep it in the ground. Trying to get Barack Obama in the remainder of his term, and of course Hillary Clinton picking up Barack's slack, not even talking about Donald Trump. And so while Barack Obama signing off there over there in Paris, and Hillary taking up the chant about how we need to save the planet by weaning ourselves off fossil fuels, what do we see? U.S. officials announced plans on Thursday to speed up permitting for oil and gas drilling on federal public lands and, of course, Indian reservation lands to reduce delays for fossil fuel companies. Low energy prices already have curtailed domestic energy exploration. Hallelujah. And that has put a crimp in the budgets for the major energy producing states such as Wyoming, New Mexico, Colorado, Alaska, North Dakota, and Montana, whereas Texas in here, which receive a substantial share of their state revenue from oil and gas activity on federal public lands. So, in an attempt to streamline approvals and reduce the cost for energy companies, U.S. Bureau of Land Management Director Neil Korn said all drilling applications would now be filed online under the new proposal. Online only permitting would allow 90% of drilling applications to be completed within 115 days, down from the present 220 days. Industry representatives welcomed the Fed's attempt to make permitting more efficient and said they have worked with Korn's agency, the BLM, to fix glitches in the system. Is there anybody on this planet failing to understand how big oil has this country and this planet in its pocket? You know, guys, it's just over and over again. Anybody swallowing this unadulterated horseshit that Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton have any desire to keep fossil fuels in the ground by banning drilling on our public lands, pull your head out of your ass. The only difference between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump on the subject of drilling for oil and gas on our public lands, at least Donald Trump, for all you can say about him, he's not a lying sack of shit, at least as far as his energy policy is. It's just that Hillary Clinton is a fucking lying sack of shit on top of sucking Warren Buffett's dick on stage at the DNC. Jesus. I like this story from oilprice.com. Their story this week. The problem with big oil, it's too big. There you go. The problem with big oil is that it is too big. There you go. I won't break into that story. I think the headline says it all. The problem with the planet is that big oil owns the planet and every politician on it. I got two more here. Now, this story from the street. I'm reading this story about One World Ready or Not, talking about these goddamn banksters behind it all. These evil bastard banksters behind it all. Behind big oil and every other planet eater on this planet. And this story is kind of complicated. I could make a full rant off of it. How Wall Street made millions from big oil's boom and its bust. U.S. banks from J.P. Morgan Chase to Citigroup to Bank of America have become financial supermarkets, reaping juicy fees from selling stocks for distressed oil companies that were previously big borrowers. I'd say this is kind of complicated, but I'll start you off with it. Leading off with this sentence, they get them coming and going. As oil traded above $100 a barrel earlier this week, these big banks doled out more than $110 billion of loans to finance the drilling boom, all the while helping their clients borrow additional cash through bond sales. And now that oil prices have gone bust, the banks are reaping a new bounty of fees, underwriting stock sales for financially distressed energy producers, which in turn are using those proceeds to pay down their loans from the very banks underwriting the stock sales. And here is the kicker. Some of those oil companies are already taking out fresh loans, often from the same banks, to pay for new drilling projects. The episode highlights the role big banks play as handmaidens in the oil and gas industry's latest boom and bust cycle, while demonstrating their ability to profit in the downturns as well as the upturns. Is there anyone, I mean, even if you have trouble with the minutiae of this, is there anyone failing to understand at this point how the big banks are the handmaiden for big oil? And we're going to wrap up this week's economic meltdown roundup rant over there in Norway, right up there, I would say, with Ecuador as being the single biggest planet-eating hypocrite country on the planet. Paradox nation, Norway, a climate leader making money on oil. Norway wants to get rid of gasoline-fueled cars, plans to become carbon neutral by 2030, and spends billions of dollars helping poor countries reduce their carbon footprints. Meanwhile, Norway is pushing ever farther into the Arctic Ocean in search of more oil and gas. And again, I'm sorry, I don't have my bullshit detector button for this explanation from Vidar Helgesen, Norway's climate and energy minister. Love how they combine those two into the same ministry. Quote, "We know there is a paradox. We have been living well from oil and gas. But there is no country in the world that has done more to undermine the oil and gas industry than Norway." Close quote. So you can imagine me breaking the batteries on my bullshit detector button. The mountainous Scandinavian country of 5 million people is torn between its ambition to be a global leader on climate change and the awareness that its wealth is linked to the world's dependence on fossil fuels. Fossil fuels account for 40% of Norwegian exports, and Norway's $875 billion oil kitty is the world's largest sovereign wealth fund. There you go. Well, I'm sure they, okay. Let's get to Lars Haltbrekken, chairman of Norwegian chapter of Friends of the Earth. Quote, "Norway's plan has always been to buy carbon credits to allow us to continue polluting as a country. That is why we don't think carbon neutrality is the most important factor in combating climate change. We can buy credits in developing countries. It doesn't require us to reduce our own emissions here in Norway." Environmental activists bristle at explorations handed out to 13 oil companies in May to drill in a new area of the Norwegian Arctic. Yep. And meanwhile, as they're claiming they're going to be carbon neutral by 2030, Norway's greenhouse gas emissions actually went up last year. Because of all the energy it takes to fuel the oil boom in the Arctic Ocean. I cannot think of a better sick, twisted joke than that to wind up this week's economic meltdown roundup rant. Bye, guys.